I always wanted to develop this part of me of doing research and writing and teach. But during that time, I was a full pastor, and I wanted to be a full-time pastor. But since I had done the masters in Brazil, and there was this, I stand on the shoulders of so many people, Mark. I mean, I was a shoe-shining boy. Mark, do you understand what it is for me to be here? My mother studied up to the 2nd grade. My father studied to the 4th grade. I am the first in all the generations of my ancestors, the first one to get an education and to get a PhD. My father couldn't even understand what a PhD is. He said it was a doctor, but a doctor, like a doctor, you have patients? No, Dad, it's not like that. It's teaching. So every time I would meet him, I would have to explain it to him. There's a lot of people that it was not for them. I remember doing seminary, Mark. There was one year that I didn't have money to continue, so I dropped it. And there was this elder who knew about it, went to the seminary, paid the entire year, and just came to me and said, go back to school. I said, Lauro, I cannot go back to school. I'm telling you, go back to school tomorrow. And didn't know why, so I went back and he was paid. See, I had people like this all the time, and I had another woman who paid for me to do a course, and I couldn't go to camps because they were expensive. So there were people who would pay for me to go to the youth camps and the church camp, things like that. So, and I am a result of faithful people who carry me through. And so when I get to Union, I also had this couple who gave money for this scholarship for foreigners, John and Penny Webster, and they provided me. They had this scholarship there to be offered. So when Union gives it to me, you see, it breaks an enormous chain of a sequence of lack of opportunity and impossibility to get to places, and they give me this opportunity. So when I am at Union, at the day of my graduation, and I had this dream since I got the phone call from my advisor, Janet Walton. For the first day, said, Claudio, you've been accepted to the PhD program here at Union. From that day on, it took me 6 years to do my PhD, I wanted to do something. So at the day of of my graduation, I had something that I need to do. So when they call me, and it's a beautiful ceremony that you go there and then you turn around and your advisor put your hood, so they hood you and give the name of your dissertation and so on. So at that moment, Mark, I said, I need 1 minute. I'm sorry about that, but I need to stop and say something. I have so many people to thank, but I will only name 2 people. My mother and my father. My father studied up to the 4th grade. My mother studied only to the 2nd grade. And she did everything that she could. When my father got ill and couldn't work, she did everything she could. She did laundry for others. She cooked for others. She cleaned houses and offices that I used to go with her when I was a kid. And she sold perfumes on the streets that I also used to go with her. So when I tell them, and I said, and she's done so much for me that I think she deserves this more than I do. So I run into her, and she was there, and she stands, and I turn her around, and I put the hood on her, and I say, Mother, you deserve this more than I do. You made it possible. See, Mark, when I am where I am, I cannot take anything for granted, any step of the way. All of the people who carried me through. It was my advisor in Brazil, Jaci Marasquim, an Anglican priest, who taught me to love liturgy, who would take me from one church to another and to worship together, and then along the way to performances and music and theater performances along the way. So he gave me opportunity to go to a place I've never been to to a concert before, and then he took me to a concert. But he taught me everything about this love of liturgy. So he would take me to church and say, you know why you have this, and you know what we're doing this. And so he taught me all these things, and taught me to pray in ways that I would not know how to pray. And